Hello everyone, this is JHancho. Welcome everyone to the last game in the group play stage that I'm going to be casting. This is from Group E, and we do have a Protoss, believe it or not, in Thallis. So it's going to be a oh my goodness, it's a PvP on Blistering Sands. Crisis is going to round out the field as the red Protoss. Now again, as with D and E, or D and... Wait. I'm all confused, but within the last 3 games, only 1 game was played in each of those groups, allowing both players to advance. And we'll be getting to the round of 16 quite shortly, but for now, let's enjoy a different matchup for a change on Blistering Sands. Probe's going to be scouting, and it looks like that's a curious position for a PvP battle, putting it at the ramp. You don't really need to do that. You have no fear of Zergling aggression, and against Terran you don't want to do it. Protoss is kind of a mixed bag. Against a hard Zealot rush it can be beneficial, as you are able to take the brunt of the damage with your tech buildings, leaving your economy safe, but I can't say. Maybe Crisis is a random player, and that would make a little bit more sense, as Thallis hasn't scouted yet. Looks like he's going to be sending that out now, as Crisis gets a couple zaps in on both the probe as well as the gateway. But 1 gate for Crisis right now, as well as for Thallis. Second pylon on the way. Both players continuing to make probes. It looks like Crisis is behind just a little bit, letting his Chrono Boost build up a little bit. And we do have 1 off the line for Thallis, trying to take care of Crisis' scout. And that's kind of interesting. We should see another pylon be made for Thallis. Looks like he is going to be making it. And interestingly enough, going to be moving all the way down here first, then make it, and then stop. Because he is supply blocked, we're not going to see a Zealot quite right away, as the pylon has only about 75% completion on it. And I'm not sure exactly what to say about this, other than 2 probes are hanging out in the rocks behind the line of sight blockers in Crisis' base. Thallis putting down an early Cyber Core for PvP matchup, and also putting a sensible pylon in the line of sight blockers, able to kind of make sure that there's no units, no Zealots at least, attacking the rocks, and also monitor the hit points of the rocks. Smart play, you definitely want to be able to do that. First Zealot coming out, and looks like Crisis' scout is going to be moving away. Just look at the vision this gives you. It's not all that much.
Probes are under attack.
Looks like that Zealot did get a kill. But look at that vision. You can see any sort of Zealots attacking that as well. And what is Crisis going to be moving in and trying to tuck a pylon in right by the cacti? And it looks like Crisis can't see that. So I'm sure that will be dispatched quite quickly. It looks like that Zealot going to be kind of moving in and around. That Forge, interesting, Cyber Core. If we see, let's see, if we see a Twilight Council and whatnot, then that will be interesting. But right now we do have the economy evened up. Interesting, because it looks like Crisis was behind. He even has full Chrono at the moment. Could be using it on Warp Gate. Could be using it on additional reinforcements to his 3 Zealots. Looks like he is going to be opting for another pylon. Doesn't need it quite yet, as he's got 13 supply left before he needs it. Stalker going to be moving out, looking for proxies. Popular places include the low ground here, so that when you have vision up here, you can just pick and choose either up here or down there. Watchtowers are also popular because give you a large vision radius, as well as a nice aggressive or neutral place to put them in there, depending on their stance. We do have a robo facility coming down for Thallis, which is very interesting. We could see some Immortals to counter Stalkers, or Colossi to counter Ground. But looks like a little bit of a movement here. 4 Zealots and 2 Stalkers versus 2 Stalkers and 1 Zealot. So the unit count advantage goes to Crisis, but looks like right move, but quick reaction, allowing the Stalkers to do a little bit of damage to this one, maybe even getting to the hit points. Yes, 51 hit points now for that Stalker, which does have a kill, as one that did snipe that probe, and the rope facility is in. 2 cannons coming down for Thallis. Both players kind of coasting. Looks like the Harvester count is in Thallis' favor again. We'll see that probably slingshot a little bit. And we do have a... oh, there it is. A Twilight Council, maybe for charge, especially versus Protoss charge is very, very nice and powerful. But against any other, it depends on your matchup. Blink can be useful. On this matchup, if you want to skirt the rocks, you get on an observer and you blink up here. Very powerful if you catch your opponent out of position. Very good again for also defending your own natural and kind of blinking behind your fortifications at your choke. At your ramp, rather. Now getting a sentry on the field. Sentries are powerful PvP for force fields, warding away zealots and trying to split armies of stalkers back, as you can kind of kite the zealots. But an expansion going down for Crisis. Curious timing, as he does have 3 warp gates and a gateway, only supported by 1 pylon. One may have overlap with another pylon. But we do have Blink on the way. I would have chosen Charge. But he does look like he is going pretty Stalker heavy, as his opponent is as well. But he does have that first weapon upgrade coming down. Very nice. Ooh! Is that a Warp Prism we see coming out of that roping facility? I thought for sure we would see an Observer or at least an Immortal to deal with Stalkers, but instead, Warp Prism. Very interesting play. No island expansions. We'll be able to do a little bit of harass, but unfortunately might intercept his opponent Crisis as he's walking around. This could be devastating. No. How underwhelming. But this Warp Prism going all the way down, all the way across, and stopping right there. Crisis does stop short of assailing his opponent. Just checking for an expansion. Very smart. Gonna be bugging out real quick. Thallis, though, kind of sitting on his army. 60 supply, and for Crisis, 50 supply. So outproducing him a little bit. Only has 3 gateways, and it looks like we do have an Immortal coming out. And it looks like we're going to go straight to the back door. Very, very predictable. But if you don't know it's coming, Robo Facility now for Crisis. Thallis, though, getting 1, not 2, but maybe even 3 Stalkers on the field in his opponent's base. Now his opponent is moving out, so this could catch him off guard, but he does have a production cycle from his warp gates and the money with which to do it. To warp in reinforcements, that is. But he's now getting his expansion underway, forgetting to set his rally point. Very, very tough to remember sometimes. Does have his units... Ooh, backdoor. Now see, this is what I was talking about. With this, you can't see it, but you can't see the shots, and you can't see the rock's health go down. Unfortunately, 3 Zealots, 3 Stalkers coming down, Robo Bay, and now a little bit of econ damage. And oh my goodness, Crisis moving out after nearly killing his opponent's rocks. And this could be bad for Thallis, as he is getting caught out of position. His Zealots are doing some work on his opponent's mineral line, but now these Stalkers will eventually die. No more reinforcements here. And Crisis, fearing, or knowing that the Crisis is in fact over, will kind of run into an army and blink away. These Zealots never getting the chance to prove their worth. 3 more Stalkers on the way. These Zealots still doing work. Wow. And this does not look good for Crisis. And I would suspect that we will see Chrono Boost on these gateways, get them out a little bit more quickly. And, oh no, no high ground. Doesn't know how his opponent got in. Doesn't realize that the Warp Prism is there. But another... Oh, now he does have vision. He will be taking out that Warp Prism and focusing down Thallis' remaining Stalkers. But unfortunately, even though Thallis did not succeed in completely destroying his opponent, he did destroy his opponent's economy. And that is the most important thing. He does have enough to move out and do a lot of damage. His Immortal will eat Stalkers for breakfast, as he does have 1 weapon, 1 armor. And since he does have now the Twilight Council and Blink on the way, so apparently I talk out of my ass too much, and Blink is used more prevalently in PvP. But I would suspect that well, this map could be interesting with it. You can blink across here too. That would be curious. That watchtower revealing that a push is coming from Crisis, or from two Crisis from Thallis, and this Nexus will be completely shut down. Thallis, in a commanding position, should be taking his own expansion quite soon. And you can just see the timing, how it affects your opponent, and Crisis was ready to move out, ready to do a lot of damage, but one little move allowed Thallis to really do a lot of damage, take out an expansion. This Sentry will go down eventually to focus fire Stalkers. A Colossus is now out. Unfortunately, Immortals and Stalkers will do a ton of damage to them, as both of them do bonus damage. Looks like they stopped caring about that Colossus, but will be able to track it down, as Stalkers do move quicker than Colossi. And Crisis calls it good game. Thallis will advance, as will Crisis, because this is a one-game set in a group stage. But I digress. That brings us to the end of group play, and we will have different maps. I assure you we'll have different maps for the upcoming games. So, group play is over. Look forward to round of 16 games featuring a bunch of different maps. We will see them as they start. So, hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to the next round.